Hi friends, this is Lady Flora, and if you're new to this channel, I am a working homeschooling mom of 3, Songbird who is 7 years old, Man Cub who is 4 years old, and Baby Professor who is 1 year old. You can subscribe or hit the bell if you're interested in homeschooling videos and curriculum reviews and day in the life videos, which we make a lot of on this channel. I'm gonna start with the last of the really great Wang Doodles by Julie Andrews Edwards. And yes, this is Julie Andrews as in Mary Poppins. It was really good. Like, we liked this book so much. There's this eccentric professor and he meets these children at the zoo and he starts talking about these creatures that they've never heard of before. And it's just really great because there are lots of opportunities where he defines certain words for the children that they don't understand and gives examples about what that word might mean. And so I feel like it's a really good living book in that sense, and it really captured our imagination. We had a good time reading this, didn't we?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did.
The youngest character in this book is 8, and I think this is a great read aloud for the age group of maybe between 7 and 12, or maybe between 6 and 12. In fact, most of these books are going to be in that age range. There is a scary character, but he's not really that scary, I guess. He's the villain, but he's not like, there's no violence. But he's just kind of creepy. Everybody talks about this one, Mr. Popper's Penguins. And it's got a little medal here. And this is just about a guy who is in love with Antarctica. And this explorer who goes to Antarctica somehow winds up sending him a penguin. And then he winds up getting a mate for the penguin. And then they turn their basement into a...
penguin like the Antarctica, and it's pretty cool, and he just loves his little pet penguin.
Yes, so it winds up changing their whole life, and it's kind of crazy the stuff that they do, and it's pretty silly. It's cute, and I would recommend it. I didn't love it. It was written a long time ago. It was written, I want to say, in 1938, and so I don't know, it's cute, it's fun. It certainly wasn't like the Wang Doodle, and but we enjoyed reading it. We also read this book, Mrs. Pickle Wiggle, and this is a really, really good book too. My daughter wound up reading it herself after we read it together out loud. She wanted to reread certain chapters. So Miss Pickle Wiggle loves children, and she is just this very eccentric woman. She has this crazy long hair, and she plays with the kids and pretends to be like a witch or a fairy or things like that. And then her yard, she just lets the kids dig up her backyard, and she's really good with kids, and all the kids go to her house after school. And when the parents are having a hard time because their children won't clean their room or their children won't take a bath, they call Mrs. Pickle Wiggle, and Miss Pickle Wiggle has these various cures and things that she tells them. So it's a really great book to read with your kid because they have the selfishness cure, the answer backer cure, won't pick up toys cure. So it's kind of a fun way to talk with your kids about how, we need you to clean your room and stuff. And here's a funny story about a kid who's also having a hard time cleaning his room. It doesn't make fun of the parents or anything or the kids. It's just a good kind of story for kids and parents to read together. I really like this book because this was one of the first books that I read out loud with my daughter. And I think she was 4. One of the first read aloud books, read aloud books that I read out loud to her.
Yeah,
it's got a map inside.
Elmo rescues a baby dragon, and then they end up going in the sea in a storm. And when they come back, he has to rescue the dragon's family.
There is a little bit of like danger. I think in the first one there's like a tiger. I think the tiger threatens to eat somebody. I don't remember the details. So there's a little bit of that. I didn't find it too scary. When I read it to my daughter when she was 3, I don't know. Sometimes you see that kind of thing coming and you can just skip it. There are a few pictures. The version we have some pictures like this that, you know, a little scary. These next 2 books are part of a series called The Lighthouse Family, which is a really, really wonderful series. Again, it was one of the first books that I read with my daughter as a read aloud. It's like a cat who runs this lighthouse, and her name is Pandora, and then this dog gets shipwrecked and she helps him get better, and then they just become friends, and then they rescue these mice, and it's just like a really, really sweet story of this family like coming together. And I think there's 5 books in the series. We got the turtle and the eagle. There's no bad guys. It's kind of like there's some discovery going on. They're discovering new creatures, and they're kind of problem solving and finding ways to help them and finding ways to rescue them and take care of them. And it's just a really good series. I highly recommend it. Another book that I got, now this isn't necessarily a read aloud, this is a picture book, but it had such good reviews, and it just kept popping up and lists and things that I was looking at for books and read alouds, and is Roxaboxen. It is so good. It is really, really good. It's just about these children who set up a play area outside, and they kind of make it whatever they want it to be, and it just grows and grows into this like fantasy civilization that they all have and play and experience together. And it's really cool. It goes deep into like childhood imagination and play and memory, and then at the end it just they come back and they visit it, and it's just really good. I'm not really doing it much justice by how I'm talking about it, but it's quite good. This book is really great. The Squirrels Birthday and Other Parties. It's like a series of short stories. The illustrations are so cool and so pretty. And it starts off with this squirrel, and he invites everyone to his birthday party, and he makes a cake for everyone. And there's just so many great stories. My favorite one is called A Speck of Dust. A leopard is going to throw a party, and it's kind of a fancy party. And he invites a grasshopper, and the grasshopper goes and buys a speck of dust at a special store. And then he shows up for the party with the speck of dust on his shoulder. And when he arrives, the leopard says, "Wow, you look amazing. Thank you for coming." And the grasshopper says, "Why, thank you." And then he just brushes the dust off his shoulder. And that's it. That's the story. And I thought it was really delightful. And there's also another story where the animals dress up as each other. So like the giraffe dresses up as a snail, and the elephant dresses up as a squirrel. And it's just very whimsical, very sweet, very silly, but also like lighthearted and sort of thoughtful. Another book by the same author and illustrator, is Letters to Anyone and Everyone. The bear writes a letter to the squirrel, and he says, "Can you invite me to your birthday, and can I eat the entire cake?" And there's a letter to a table, and then there's even a letter to a letter. And my daughter and I just read these books, and we just smiled and giggled, and they're just really, really sweet books. In fact, I don't even think that these necessarily have to be for kids. They're certainly good for kids. I got a baby crying. They're certainly good for kids, but I could totally see these as being just like a nice gift for somebody. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you can find these books at your library, or you could just get them on thrift books like I did. Enjoy your children while reading out loud to them. and I hope that you can go outside and have a sublime day.